So 17b's, we have to finish out this first chapter of the new book. Right? In this half chapter, we saw some aorist passives and future passives that don't have theta eta as an insert, but they just have eta, right? Or epsilon in the case of the aorist participles. Right? So actually, we don't have any of those in these first 5 lines. I have underlined the verbs in red, participles in green. So we'll go through what we have here. You'll pick up from there. So go to that first. First of all, let me get the eraser so you can see where I'm pointing. All right. So the first sentence. So pasanun tein hemeran he naus anemo orio eferoto hoste hespera egignato estein epideron abigonto udein kakon patontes. Okay. So therefore, get that post positive out of the way. So the ship, that's my subject. Eperito, right? Imperfect. Right? Present down with the e augment, so it's imperfect. And of course, a secondary ending. So middle or passive. Passive is going to sound right here, right? So the ship was carried by the dative of means here, anemo orio, by a favorable wind. So the ship was carried by a favorable wind. What do we have left? Pasan tein hemeran. That's just accusative of extended time. For how long? For the whole night. So therefore, the ship was carried by a favorable wind for the whole night. When, hosts, right? Night was happening. So when it was becoming night, we would say, right? Another imperfect here, right? Egignato. So when it was becoming night, estein epideron apigonto. So aorist here, apigonto. They arrived, estein epideron, to epidaurus. Patontes, or aorist participle, right? Second aorist participle. Having suffered, udein kakon, nothing bad. Oh, that's good. Okay. So when, again, hosts, exabison. So remember, this is a second athematic aorist, athematic second aorist. Right, so we talked about those in the my introduction to the previous translation. Of course, we saw this at the end of the last book, right? So be aware of that. So so when they stepped out onto the ground, estein gain, onto the land, right? Verb is edoxen, right? It seemed. This is aorist, right? The S, so first aorist. So edoxen. So it seemed right to the dative, to Dicapolis. Eltus prost to Asclepieion ienai. So immediately ienai, to go to the Asclepion, that is the temple of Asclepius. Okay. Ugar polu apekein. So the verb is apekein, yet another imperfect. So for gar, that post positive, it was polu, it was not far, apekein away, right? Apekein, it was away, it was not far away. Hedegune, so day is moving us along here in the narrative. So the woman, which woman? He nosusa, the woman suffering, being sick with regard to her stomach. Tingastera. Hutos ekamnein, so she was so tired. Hoste, that, right? Introducing a result clause here. She was so tired, but how tired was she? Well, hoste uk etelen ienai ekene te hemera. So she did not want ienai to go, and then date of a time when, on that day, on that day, yeah. Ekene te hemera. Allah, right, for Allah, but another imperfect, emene, she was remaining. In katakogio, katakogio tini, so in a certain inn, engus tu lamenos, near the harbor, right? So she's going to sit it out till the next day. Right? All right. So any questions about that, bring it up in class, and then we'll proceed from there to go through the rest of this, and we'll be done with the first chapter.